Friends, subscribers, countrymen, lend me your ears. In a recent episode, it was said of Chandler that he may like Houston more than Sam Houston liked Houston. If that is true, then it is a grievous fault, and grievously hath Chandler answered it. Welcome to Chandler's Travels. In this episode, we are in Mobeetie, taking a look at the life of Temple Lee Houston, Sam Houston's youngest son, and his life in the Texas Panhandle. Hope you'll enjoy it. Oof. Panhandle wind for you. So I am once again here in Mobeetie. Behind me is the old county jail for Wheeler County. This is the only remaining structure from old Mobeetie. There's a site that's been created here with other buildings that have been moved to this spot, but this is what's left of what was one of the wildest towns in Texas, in the country even. And it plays a special role in Temple Lee Houston's life. Temple Houston was the last child born to Sam and Margaret. He is the first child ever born in the Texas governor's mansion, because Sam Houston was the sitting governor in 1860 when Temple was born, in August of 1860 when Temple was born. And just a few months later, Sam Houston would end up resigning the governorship, moving everybody around Texas and settling at the Steamboat House. So if you're interested in learning more about that, we've done an episode you can check out elsewhere on the channel. But just know that every time we talk about the Steamboat House in that episode, there's a little baby Temple Houston that's also in that house. His father would die before Temple turned 3 years old. His mother would die before Temple would turn 8 years old. He would live with his sister Nanny, but by 12 years old he figured he was a grown man, and he was very tall, just like his father, and so moved out to see the world, and boy did he. He ran cattle with cowboys up into Kansas. He worked on a riverboat on the Mississippi. He was a page for the Senate in Washington, D.C., and then he came back and decided to go he was just fortunate enough to be, if not the inaugural class, one of the first ever classes at Texas A&M University. Whoop! He went there for a semester or two, but just when they started to actually make real academic requirements at the university. I know some of you are saying they have real academic requirements at Texas A&M. Well, they were just starting, and Temple decided he didn't want that. He wanted to go to Baylor instead. So sick 'em bears. He goes and studies at Baylor, and then becomes one of the youngest people ever to pass the bar. There's actually some chicanery involved in getting him to be a practicing lawyer, because he was not 21 years old yet. He goes to Brazoria and he meets who would be the love of his life, Laura. He works as an attorney there, and then the Panhandle opens up. They finally decide they need some law up here. So they need a county judge or a district judge for the 35th district, and they need a district attorney. And nobody was really eager to be the district attorney for this lawless land. But Temple Houston, at 22, 23 years old, decides that sounds like a lot of fun. So he starts making his way up to Mobeetie. Takes a train, I guess, to Fort Worth, and then stagecoaches all the way up to here. It is said that he knew he was approaching Mobeetie by strewn whiskey bottles collecting on the side, getting bigger and bigger as he made his way to this lawless town. As district attorney, he tried to clean up things a little bit, with all the entertaining ladies and soiled doves doing their business. One of the newspaper articles said that he would make it his bailiwick to subdue these evildoers. That did not make him a very popular man. So they ended up saying, well, actually, if you could just keep all of your houses of ill repute on the other side of the hill, then we'll be fine. We don't want you milling around here, but we want you close by. So Temple Houston was involved in some of the cleaning up, as much cleaning up as you could do. But that's not to say that he was a altar boy either. He was very much, even though he didn't know him very well, he was his father's son. He would dress in these outlandish outfits, just like his father. Very well known for wearing a Spanish-style, Mexican-style buckskins, a huge sombrero with a silver eagle on top. And he carried with him a white-handled pistol, possibly pearl, possibly ivory, nickel-plated, and he would carry it into the courtroom because, of course, you would. As a lawyer, there's probably a lot of people who have some claim to try and shoot you. So he was always prepared with his nickel-plated Colt on his side. He got several fines here for being drunk in court. He got fines for foul language in court. The courthouse would have been just behind the jail. And as we were talking about before, truly a lawless town. The few people who tried to settle families here, there's one story of a mother who would cover her children in thick mattresses because of not the people who are aiming for the children, but all of the ricochets that would be happening as all these cowboys and buffalo hunters are just shooting up the place all the time. Temple Houston District Attorney, the judge who was here was a rather large gentleman, over 300 pounds, and they opened up another court in Tascosa. So they would have to travel the 120 miles from here to the western side of the Panhandle to meet at court in Tascosa. And one of the stories goes that they hit the Canadian River, and they couldn't put their horses they couldn't cross it, so they had to cross it themselves. So they leave their bags on the west side of the Canadian. They cross, strip down a little bit, start crossing the river. This 300-pound judge can't swim. So Temple and the other attorney lift him onto their shoulders. And the other attorney has the only updated copy of the legal statutes in the Panhandle. And he starts losing it down the Canadian River. And he starts going for it, and this giant of a man says, "Forget the law, save the court." And so they held on to the judge as they forded the Canadian River. That's just a few of the stories that Temple was involved in. Another story that takes place right here, there was, of course, one of these big storms that comes through the Panhandle, maybe a cyclone, actually lifted the roof off of this jail and the courthouse. So while they were fixing the roof on the jail, they had to store the prisoners in the courthouse. Well, the top floor of the courthouse was also the schoolroom. So the school children entertained themselves by smuggling chalk to the prisoners, and the prisoners would draw pictures for them. What kinds of pictures? I don't know, but must have been very entertaining for these children to stick around and watch them do it. Well, while that's happening, the guys who are still in the jail start sawing through the metal plating, and they escape and get out of here. So that actually happened before Temple Houston arrived here. That's just another story of the lawlessness of Mobeetie, which you come here today and it's this quiet, pleasant Panhandle little park. But at one time, just the wickedest, wildest happening spot in all of Texas and maybe all of the West. Those are just a handful of the stories that Temple Houston took part in while living here in Mobeetie. Talk about a few more in just a moment. Temple Houston was nicknamed the Lone Wolf of the Canadian because when he first got to town, he would not like to sleep in any of the buildings. He preferred to sleep outdoors, just under a saddle blanket or just beside one of these buildings. It must have been pretty interesting to see your district attorney looking like some guy camped out, and then the next day he'd be inside the courtroom fighting, probably a little bit 3 sheets to the wind. But again, that's how things were running here in Mobeetie back in the 1880s. He had quite the reputation as a great orator. He also had a reputation as a great marksman. Now, this story that I'm about to tell you is not true. It is a myth, but I'm going to tell it to you anyway because it's just so darn good. Story goes that over at Tascosa, Temple Lee Houston, Billy the Kid, and my favorite, Bat Masterson, have a shooting competition. Bat Masterson gets a plug of tobacco that has a little tin star on it, throws it up in the air. Temple Houston gets Old Betsy, that was the name of his gun, Old Betsy, shoots it in the air right through the center of that tin star, and Billy the Kid said, well, no one's going to do any better than that, walked away from the competition. Once again, that story is not true, but I think the fact that someone would make up that story does say something about what they thought of Temple Houston. A big part of Temple Houston's life was that he didn't want to be compared with his father, but that's just going to happen any way you slice it. Maybe one of the major reasons he was elected to the state senate from right here in Mobeetie, served 2 or 3 terms in Austin. While he was in Austin representing Mobeetie, he actually wrote a bill for the purchase of the Alamo by the state of Texas. So keenly aware of his position in history and his relationship to the pioneers of Texas history and the Texas Revolution. So these are a couple of other great Temple Houston stories. Not exactly sure if they happened here in Mobeetie or in Tascosa or when he moves to Oklahoma later on, but I'm going to share them with you now. One of them is he's in private practice, and he is to represent these 2 horse thieves or outlaws, and the judge says to Temple, go in there and give them your best advice. So goes into this closed off room, and it's taken a long time. The judge is expecting Temple to come out within 20 minutes or so, but it just takes forever. And so finally somebody goes into the chambers, and Temple Houston is in there all by himself, and there's an open window and a curtain flying through, and Temple said, I gave them my best advice. They got the heck out of there. Another great story in the courtroom. So there was a witness on the stand who the things that they were saying contradicted each other. So he would, say one thing, and then a couple statements later say something that completely contradicted that first statement. And Temple Houston gets up and he says that this witness is a damned liar, or you can't believe a damned word they say, something like that. And the judge says, you watch your mouth, mister. And later on, another one of these contradictions happens. Temple gets up, Again, he's a damned liar. You can't believe a damned word he says. And the judge says, that's it, I'm fining you $20. And Temple Houston opens both of his pockets. He says, I don't have $20, Your Honor. Can I borrow it from you? And the judge says, tell the clerk to give Temple Houston $20 so that Temple Houston can pay the court that $20. Truly a Wild West courtroom, if you would ever see one. Those are the kinds of stories that took place here in Mobeetie and throughout the Panhandle in this area of the world. This being the place where Temple Houston first really laid down his roots, there is another story that comes to us. So his children, the first 3 children, or maybe just 2, are born here in Mobeetie. So he has a son named Temple, and then he has a daughter, and the daughter passed away while he was still living here in Mobeetie. And there's actually a mulberry tree just off of this porch, which was planted in her honor by Temple Houston. And she is buried in the Mobeetie Cemetery, but we don't know where her burial is anymore. Very similar with Molly Brennan. So they have markers set up, but those are not actually where they were buried. Just somewhere in that cemetery is where that daughter of his was buried. Another indelible mark that Temple Houston left here from his time in Mobeetie. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Chandler's Travels. I hope that you enjoyed these Temple Houston stories. If you'd like to learn more about Temple Houston, please go to the Wise About Texas podcast. He has a whole episode on Temple Houston. I borrowed a lot of these stories from Ken Wise's podcast, and we are good friends, and he really inspired me to do this kind of stuff that I do in sharing Texas history. So I'd really want to make sure to direct you over to his podcast, because not only does he have this great Temple Houston episode that goes into his life in Oklahoma as well, but just hundreds of other episodes about so many different aspects of Texas history. So please go to the Wise About Texas podcast to learn even more about Temple Houston and Texas. And as always, if you like this episode, I ask of you, please hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell. All of those things help us in growing our audience and making it to where I can continue to share my journeys with you, the viewer, for years to come. Thank you so much, and vaya con Dios.